spice. Oh my god. Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is my first ever book review on YouTube. Normally I do them on Instagram Reel, or I have done a couple sort of post reviews. If you're not following me on Instagram, I'll leave the handle here. This is my book account. I do also run a small book business, so it's just everything books. But today I'll be reviewing Karina Hall's Blood Orange. I've read it twice. In a nutshell, is a dark romance, romantasy, fantasy, enemies to lovers, second chance, and I say second chance loosely, but it will make sense when you discover the plot twist. Also, enemies to lover, I would say it's not so distinct because it's more so one is hiding their feelings whilst the other one is falling, and then they discover they are enemies. So it is a duology. I have read both. This is my second time reading this, so this review will be based on my experience with having read it twice. Very quick backstory if you're not familiar with For the Introverts and how I started. I started off as a small annotation business, so essentially I would annotate books for people, and Blood Orange was one that came through of my request, so I annotated it for a lady in the States, in the US, and honestly fell in love with the book. Recently, fast forward a few years, went to the cinema with my brothers to see Nosferatu, and ever since that moment, I've just been craving to get into a dark romance, vampire, gothic story, which is Blood Orange. Very quick rundown on the story. We've got Valtu and we've got Dahlia. So Dahlia is a witch and Valtu is a vampire. Dahlia the witch essentially has been sent by her organization to track down Valtu, and now it's based in Italy, Venice, which I automatically just thought was the coolest thing ever, with the canals and the old buildings. I just feel like it's a very atmospheric place. So when this was built up to be very gothic, it was just literally, it was everything I was craving. Old school universities, dark streets, alleyways, cathedrals. It just felt atmospheric, and that's the atmosphere I wanted to be surrounded in. I really wanted that gothic, dark essence. There's also a lot of history around some of the islands that are around that sort of neck of the woods, which I found so interesting. The book actually did dive into that a little bit in terms of the plague, etc. So if you're a bit of a history nut like I am, that was just another brownie point where I was like, I love that you have introduced that to the story and you've used it to your advantage and just made something of it. I just honestly thought it was so cool because those islands, the history that surrounds it is true, it's real, so it just felt like it was a story that I was reading that was actually unfolding. Alongside the witches and the vampires, we also have demons. Now these little crazy critters are just lurking in the background, adding a little bit of essence, a little bit of creep to some of the chapters. And again, it just really played on that atmosphere of being dark and gothic and a little bit spooky. We've got crystals, we've got tarot, all those witchy things that we all love reading about. We've got astral projection, crazy. It's actually quite funny. I feel like when you read a lot of romantasy books, there's always that sort of build up where one of them is actually trying to the other one. This book didn't really have that at all. So I feel like if you're into the more like action romantasies, this may not be your vibe. This was very heavy on Dahlia locks eyes on Valtu, Valtu locks eyes on Dahlia, and it is just on. If you're somebody who enjoys books that just get to the point, you will like this. Literally, page 1. Yeah. Buckle down, girlfriend. It gets wild. This book is split POV, so you've got Dahlia and you've got Valtu. It's really funny when you go from Dahlia and what's running through her mind versus Valtu. I feel like Valtu is just so in his mind about Dahlia, and then you've got Dahlia who's actually there to do a mission, which is to Daltu. I, of course, highlighted some of my favorite quotes and I wanted to read them to you. I've picked out a couple that are not offering any spoilers, so don't panic. I've got you. So we've got one here and it says, "We are all younger before love shapes us and changes us." And this is chapter 11 and it is by Valtu, and oh, we just love an emotional king who's just in touch with his heart. I love that. We've also got another highlight here, and this is also from chapter 11. It says, "You are the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced. I am never letting you go, not in this lifetime, not in the next." In chapter 14, again, we've got Valtu, the romantic, and he says, "Look at you, Dahlia, you beautiful, wicked creature, an angel in disguise." Honestly, if those 3 quotes do not paint him in the most beautiful light, I do not know what will. It is a dark romance. The romance in here is just so passionate and intense, and I just love that so much. As I've read it twice now, I will probably read it again. Am I obsessed? Yes. I was going to say maybe, but yes, I am obsessed. I literally love this story so much. The book does end on a bit of a cliffhanger. Obviously, I'm not going to give too much away. You will have to read it if you want to know, because these are spoiler free. Book 2 is definitely worth it. I have read both. I do not know if I would pick up book 2 again, only because I absolutely adore book 1, and book 2 just wasn't on the same level for me personally. However, definitely recommend both if you're willing to give them a go, and they are definitely both worth it as well. I feel like book 2 is a nice tie-up to the rest of their story. This book was written so cleverly as well. Van Helsing, I'm not sure if everyone will be familiar with that name. However, Van Helsing was actually meant to be a vampire, I believe. I've seen a few of the movies, and in this book, he is actually the Doctor. It just, again, makes it feel so realistic when you put some of the names that we all know in real life with some of these islands that do genuinely have dark history. There's no miscommunication trope. There's nothing like that, which personally rubs me. It was just flawless, honestly. The whole book is flawless. I'm really hoping I did this book justice. Honestly, as mentioned, it is one of my favorite books. I read it the second time. I already knew what was coming. I knew what was happening, and I enjoyed it just as much. I cannot fault it. It is just everything I needed it to be. I feel like if you're craving a dark romance, romantasy vibe, and you want that sort of tension and that passionate, intense love, this may be for you. I am planning to do a lot more long form reviews on my YouTube. As mentioned, I do a couple on my Instagram reels. However, this will be the main place for them now, so I can really dive into the books and break them down for you, spoiler free, as mentioned. I get you. Let me know what you thought. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on my book account if you have not already. If you're going to read this, have read this, or want to read this, maybe you've read a book similar to this that you think I will enjoy, leave it in the comments. I will read it and I'll do a little review and we can all bond over it. It'll be fun. Hope you enjoyed being here. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.